Just a quick thought on parallel lines and how to find them. Here's the basic equation of a line, y equals mx plus c, where m is the gradient of the line. So here's the graph. What's the gradient of this? Well, every time you go 1 along the x, you go a half up. So the gradient of this line is a half. When x equals 0, y equals c. So x equals 0, that's going to be equal to 0, this term. We get y equals c. C is the intercept here. That's when x equals 0, y is equal to c, 1. So the equation of this line is y equals a half x plus 1. Parallel lines have the same gradient but different values of c. So here we can see there's a lot of lines. All of these have the gradient a half, but the c is different. All the lines opposite have the equation y equals half x plus c, where c is 0, 1, 2, 3. Change the c and change the line. Well, that hopefully is obvious. Let's have a closer look though. Here's our basic equation. Parallel lines have the same gradient m, different values of c. Here's our blown up graph, and we can see that this is a y equals a half x plus 3. The y-intercept is 3, here it's 2, here it's 1, and here it's 0. We don't need to say it at all. Y equals a half x. Let's look at an example question. Given an example of give an example of a line parallel to y equals 4x plus 2. Well, we can see that m, or the gradient, is equal to 4 in this case. So these lines are parallel. Y equals 4x. We've just set c equal to 0. Y equals 4x plus 5. Y equals 4x plus 1,000. Pretty simple. So for a parallel line, all you need to find is the gradient, and I'm going to make that something to remember. Let's have a look at an example, actual example from a paper here. A line L has the equation y equals 12 minus 4x. Find an equation for a different line. You can't just give the same line, that would be too easy. That is parallel to L. So have a think. We're going to find the gradient. We're using this formula, and we're going to create a line with the same gradient. So recite the formula. Oh, you'll get bored of this eventually. Y equals mx plus c. Y equals 12 minus 4x. Right, I can see already that this minus 4 is the gradient, but we'll go through the motions. We'll flip this over. Y equals minus 4x plus 12. So we're now in this form where m is the coefficient of x, but it was before really minus 4, it just wasn't in the same order. People get confused. They tend to lose this minus 4, but don't. Y is equals to minus 4x plus 12 here. I just haven't written it in the same order. M is equal to minus 4, so I can produce any old line with a different c. Y equals minus 4x plus 10 plus 5 plus 100. Anything. And I check it. Quickly check the gradients of both lines. I can see from here that the gradient is minus 4. I can see from here the gradient is minus 4. So they are parallel. We think, we do, we check. This is another actual question. Don't get many marks for this, only 1 mark. Here is a line. Find the line that's parallel to this. This is in a horrible form, but we're going to do the same business. We're going to think, we're going to find the gradient. We're going to use this formula, y equals mx plus c. So the x coefficient is gradient. Find the line with the same gradient. So y equals mx plus c. Well, we've got this thing. Well, it's probably best to do the hard work. Minus 3x. Y plus 4 equals minus 3x. I already know that this is the gradient, but we'll go through the motions. Y equals minus 3x minus 4. So the gradient is minus 3. Which of these lines has a gradient of minus 3? Well, not this, because this is plus 3. Not that, it is plus 3. These are a little confused. I'd have to work those out. But this one, y equals 4 minus 3x, that has a gradient of minus 3. Y equals 4 minus 3x. I'm just going to flip it over just to show you. Y equals minus 3x plus 4. I can get it into this form if I want to, but I don't need to. If I've got y on this side of the equation, then this coefficient of x minus 3 is the gradient, and that's the line. Well, I just put a circle around that one, to be honest with you. It's more of an oval than a circle. Check the gradient of both lines. Well, you've got to work this one out, but we did here, -3, and that's -3, so that's all good. We thought about it, we did it, and we checked. Now, here's your opportunity. I'm going to tell you the answer in 10 seconds or 6 seconds time, so have a crack on this, see how you get on. Right, we'll have a think, we'll find the gradient using that, and we'll create a line with the same gradient. Oh, I can see already what the gradient of this line is going to be. What is the coefficient of x? Well, it might not be in the right order. So let's just mess around with it. We take our 10 over -2x plus 10. It's not really necessary. I can see from this that is -2x. And if I've got just a single y here, then that is the gradient. So gradient equals -2, and I'll just make up a line. Y equals -2x plus 20. And I'll check that. Gradients of both lines, -2x and -2. So the gradient's -2, not -2x. So that's right. We thought, we did, we checked. A slightly harder one though. Might get 2 marks for this. Who knows? Depending how generous the examiner's feeling. So let's see, nasty little equation. Find the gradients using that, create a line. That's our target. Well, it's a sort of guide really. Y equals mx plus c, 2y plus 8x. So I'm going to take away the 8x. Minus 8x, 2y equals 5 minus 8x. Right, I can see what's going to happen here, but I'm just going to divide by 2 to get y equals 2.5 minus 4x. So when it's y equals this coefficient is going to be the gradient, and that's -4. So m is equal to -4. And now I just make up a line. Y equals -4x plus 10. I could put -4x plus 100. I could do anything really. We check it. Gradient of both lines. Well, the gradient of this line we've worked out is -4. Gradient of that line is -4. They're both the same. I'll give myself a mark for that. So we have a think, we do it, and then we check it. So what's the process really? Well, we think gradient. If we're looking at parallel lines, the first thing you think of is gradient. There's our wannabe line. Make y the subject, and that's why we get the gradient. Make y the subject, and you can do that. You've done this sort of thing, and this is -4. That's the gradient. So find the coefficient of x. Well, -4 is the coefficient of x. The gradient is -4. Y equals -4 plus any old number, 10, 50, pi, and then we check it. This is a bit tricky. I hope that approach is going to make it easy for you. If you've liked these videos, or even if you haven't, and you want more, or not, why not subscribe? And if you're doing an exam shortly, best of luck.